successful streaming. So I am not sure if I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this in this playthrough or in this stream, but since I'm only 63%, but I'm getting there. I'm hoping that soon there will be more cleaner in the shop, because some parts of this go really, really slowly without it. The tile stuff is fine, but the certain parts of the ceiling are really, really slow. And a few other things are just seem to be, I believe, meant to be the consistency of cement. And so they are, they seem to like grab onto the dirt. Like for instance, these areas. The metal part isn't bad, but the part that needs to multi-purpose is. I wonder if by any chance they are in stock. No. Metal cleaner and multi-purpose cleaner I need. I get the feeling they're just not going to be in stock. And that's what I really need. So I'm going to keep doing the tile part, and I'm going to leave the other parts until later, and just hope that the multi-purpose cleaner and the metal cleaner, one of them comes into stock in the shop. Now, I mean, I have used them. You can tell, you know, since you can tell that I used some cleaner on these parts. So it's not like I'm starting from scratch, but it still is really hard to get this stuff off. So I'm just kind of crossing my fingers that some of it will come into stock before I just have to end up doing the whole thing, rest of it, without any. Hopefully that won't happen. I mean, like the this works really well. The problem is I can't look at it because it makes me nauseous. So it's a little hard to clean when you can't look at it for more than a split second before having to close your eyes, or at least squint your eyes. So there is that. Now, I also just found out, I did not realize this, but I guess this is set in 1984 because of all the vote for mayor 1984. Unless this was closed up. I cannot remember the story. Maybe it was closed up and we're cleaning it up because they're going to reopen it. I don't know. I guess I should have paid more attention, but some of these parts are really hard to get clean. Okay, so now I just want to mention I do actually have claustrophobia, so this is not my favorite job. I think it's interesting and it's a nice change of pace, but I would much rather be out in the simulated sunshine. because, yeah, I just do not like this. Now, the public bathroom was not so bad because it didn't take so long. This one is definitely taken quite a few streams. I've kind of lost track at this point. So this stuff now, is that tile? It's not, you see, it's not as easy to clean as the tile. The shiny tile, it might be tile, but it's more like a pottery glaze tile, and so it seems to keep the dirt, grab the dirt longer. I mean, you know, more stubbornly. Okay. So this shows like the tunnel wall is almost done. It has to be this section, right? So it doesn't look like it's close to being done from here. I don't know. So which one is this? This is the long extension. I'll do the extra long extension and do the top part for a little while, and then I'll switch to the, okay. So that was that part of the tunnel. I don't quite understand this. Okay, so this is going to end, okay, the tunnel wall, this section ends right here. So, okay. I get it now. So where the double blue lines are, that's a different section of tunnel. I'm going to do a little more of the top part, and then I'm going to switch to the long extension and do some of the bottom. Now that's clean, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this stuff isn't terrible, but it's okay. That just belied what I was saying. But yeah, that's because I had cleaned most of it already. It's tedious. So that's why I'm going with a tile right now, hoping that I will be lucky enough to be able to get some cleaner. Okay. from the shop before I finish this. So, by the way, I started a new playthrough of this that is no commentary. Just because this is kind of a chill game, and I do tend to talk a fair amount. So sometimes I'm sure people would like to hear chatting, and sometimes you don't. So I figure I'd do both because I do really like this game, so I needed a good reason to do another playthrough, and that seems like a decent one. I guess I should figure out this story. Messages. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, maybe, okay. It's not really clear whether it has been closed. I'm probably just missing it, but probably is clear. I just am not really understanding it or something. Okay, let's see. You know, it seems like this poster is harder to clean than the tile. I might be wrong, but it does seem that way. What's it made out of? Multi-purpose. Of course it is. Of course it is. I mean, technically the tunnel wall is multi-purpose, but I swear the tile is easier than a lot of the other surfaces. The shiny tile. Oh, did I miss that whole part? Upper part? Oh, I did. Okay. How'd that happen? That's weird. I think I got distracted by the advertisement. Now, how are we doing on the cable? That's got a ways to go. So the rest, this section, so this is one section, this part of the tunnel wall. Okay. In other words, wait a minute, so this tunnel wall is divided into two. Okay. Two parts. So yeah, I'm not even halfway done. Well, maybe a little bit more than halfway done with this section. Okay, I'm gonna do the bottom section now for a while. Okay. Boy, this thing really, now what is this exactly? This is the cable. Well, it looks like seems like I missed a lot of it, but maybe not. I've been trying to clean it when I do the bottom part of the section as much as possible. Okay, so the cable's done. Okay, so I think I'm going to switch to the extra long extension and finish the top part. Okay, so the top part's done. I didn't actually realize the top part was separate. Okay, so I'll finish this part. Okay, so I'm done with the wall on that side. Am I done with the wall on this side? I guess I am. Which actually means that, well, let's see if by any chance. No! Okay, I'm on my own. Okay, let's see. Well, I guess since this is the last part left here, I should do that, this section, then, oh, I forgot the tracks too. Yeah, well, Okay. Yeah, it just this part, the tracks are just really bad. It's like everything on them clings to the dirt, will not let it go. Like the metal tracks and then the platform beneath them, and yeah, it's not good. But if you have to use then the more intense um, uh, nozzles, then it just takes forever because you're just not covering much ground when you use those. Ugh. I should crouch down because I gotta do that every once in a while to get a different angle. Okay, so I have the long extension on. Why is there not like a medium extension? Did I miss something like that? I don't think so. So this is the one I have. I think I've bought everything for this one. It's the Pro. Yeah. Okay. Ugh. See, even that, it's like getting right up to it and it still isn't getting clean. I feel like this is the longest job so far. I might be wrong, but I I think this is the most streams I've done on any job. This stuff just like doesn't come off as easily as the tile stuff does. I think the metal tracks are a little easier. And this on the side here is easier still. I think I'll do work on that because that does seem to clean off pretty quickly. I wonder when I wonder when there's going to be more cleaner in the shop. I thought that was still yellow on the pillar, but I'm sure yeah, I did all the pillars. Okay. Now, I have to say, I'm never crazy about artificially making a game last longer. So in this case, it's by having having the cleaning fluid run out of stock. That I don't think is the way to design a game. There has to be a better way than I mean, come on, what's really? I realized that we ran out of a lot of stuff during the pandemic, and we're still having shortages because of supply chain issues and stuff. But you know, this is a game. Let's be real. Well, okay, so this is a game. Let's not artificially create a shortage situation just because, you know, you don't want to people to go through levels too quickly. Because that's up to them. If they want to zip through it by using cleaner, fine. I'm fine. I mean, I totally understand, like, maybe limiting the amount of cleaner in the beginning or something. I don't know. But I just don't like this. Well, we have to make it last longer or else people will feel they've been cheated. So let's do X. So I guess this is the platform ledge I'm cleaning. It actually cleans pretty quickly, unlike the tunnel floor. Okay, so trying to figure out how tough that wall will be. Let me see if I'm going to see if I can finish this without too many problems. I obviously did a lot of it, I think, with cleaner, but it's, you know, it just like clings. Of course, some of this is supposed to be graffiti, so I guess I can kind of understand it. Okay, so let's look around for another section that is not looking horrendous. Oh, ceilings. Yeah. I think I'd rather do these at this point, because they seem to go quicker than the tunnel ceilings. Platform ceiling, yeah. Seems to go better than the tunnel ones. I could be kidding myself, but it does seem that way. Okay, do I have the extra long? No, I need the extra long. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to do this. I guess just section by section. The thing in the middle makes it a little awkward. Okay, let's do this part. Not as much fun, but actually I've left the parts that are not fun. I should not do that again. Don't leave the parts that are not fun until the end. Oh, I didn't get this. Is like one of the platform screens that I didn't get done. I didn't realize there were any. Hmm. Okay. Hey Zoo, how are you? Oh God. What is my opinion on pole dancing? You know, for one thing, the craze to do that as exercise was like started way after my time, essentially. It's good exercise. For for a career, for instance. For a career, for instance, it's basically one of those things that you know, not to pass, I'm not passing judgment, but it generally is not it's generally not taken on as a career by people who have a really high self-esteem. But as exercise, I hear it's extremely good. But it's like a new, I know it's not a new thing, but it's just weird. I've seen them in the weirdest places too. But a lot of people, I don't know. I mean, it's just one of like, you're kind of like, oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, then yes, that's fine. It's very cheap. I mean, it's literally very cheap, and it definitely is a good way to build up strength. Um, I mean, honestly, if it's something I certainly would do if, well, if we didn't rent, for one thing. I do, like, we have a rowing machine and stuff. You know, but yeah, I mean, I think it's really good exercise, and you're talking about a piece of equipment that takes up very, very little room. So for a lot of people, that's definitely a benefit. Speaking as someone who has rented many years and sometimes in very fairly small places. But yeah, I mean, I think it's because you're using your whole body, so it's there aren't a lot of there aren't a lot of sports or athletic endeavors or whatever where you use that much of your body. Um, because it's I mean, you have to use a lot of your body because you're defying gravity. So so you have to use everything to do that. So yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely good exercise. I was like, you threw me a little there because I'm definitely not a judgmental person, but I just happen to know that many exotic dancers didn't necessarily voluntarily choose to do that, and so my feeling is generally more like I've known a lot of women over the years, friends and such, who don't have good self-esteem. So that manifests in different ways. Like I've had friends who were abused by boyfriends and stuff like that. Yeah, I would. I mean, like I said, it seems like it's probably low cost. Um, you know, and is not going to take up a lot of room. This definitely is not. I'm really hoping that I really need the cleaning fluid to come back in stock for this stuff. Nope. I get the feeling I'll be done with this job before it does. Yeah, I mean, I think it's not like what I've done over the years has been limited because of my health problems. So, for instance, when I had my first major MS attack where I was diagnosed, before that, I was doing aerobic exercise like 5 or 6 days a week, like 45 minutes at a time, aerobic and weightlifting. And I kept trying to do it after I had my attack, and it just like it wasn't possible. It was very frustrating. It took a few years till I could get back to it. And then I was doing running for a while, and then my legs got really strong. I could run really fast. It was great. And then I herniated my discs, and so that was it for that for a while. And I've been trying to get back to them, either one of them or both. We do have a rowing machine, so that's something but when you use a rowing machine, there are certain parts that do not get exercise, like your rear end doesn't get much, and your calves get basically none. So you have to supplement it. No, I mean, I have to say, I would be concerned if your boyfriend had a problem with it, because, like I said, it's been it's mainstream as a form of exercise. It's really, really mainstream. I mean, there have been classes for years in it, and um, I honestly would be concerned if he had a problem with it. Um, yeah, I mean, talking as someone who has had a couple boyfriends over the years who try to be controlling, um, uh, here's the thing. My son and I actually did a TikTok on this because something that especially a lot of young people misunderstand is that jealousy does not mean, or being controlling does not mean that someone loves you and can't live without you and just et cetera, et cetera. It means that they're very insecure. And so it's the idea that you should have to ask your boyfriend for permission is like, at my age, that's incomprehensible. I completely understand when you're younger that doesn't seem incomprehensible. But you have to understand also, I've gotten to an age where I don't put up with much from people at all. And so I have a completely different perspective. Really? Why did it take him? So the reason I assume it took him for a while to support you taking antidepressants is because he didn't really understand it. Or he felt that it was hard for him to accept that he was not enough to keep you from being depressed, which is actually a pretty normal feeling. It's like partly guilt for people that I feel so good about this relationship, then why isn't it enough to keep my partner from feeling good? From feeling good like the same way that I do about everything. And a lot of people just don't really get it. But so that may be what the thing. I mean, it's also a misunderstanding. Like, I thought my mom was one of the most enlightened people that I knew. I mean, she worked at Time Magazine. This was not someone who was, she had gone to college and blah, 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 blah. And so what happened, I was diagnosed with depression. And because I had been on some medication for migraines when I was a teenager that I really didn't like and made me feel really out of it, when I was diagnosed, they immediately said, we really want to put you on antidepressants, because I was in an extremely severe depression, and my history was clearly that I had been suffering from depression in one form or another for about 20 years. So I was like, no, I don't want to take medicine. So for 6 months, I just had therapy, which definitely was helping, but it was helping me unravel some stuff that had a profound effect on me, but it was not really making a difference in my depression overall. So I said to them, okay, I'll try antidepressants. And I told my mom, and she said, are you sure you need something like that? And I was kind of shocked because, like I said, I had always thought of her as a open-minded, fairly sophisticated person as far as her knowledge. And but she was kind of anti-therapy too. So there probably was a lot more going on. But so it's kind of surprising in some ways when people don't understand it, and in other ways I've learned not to really be surprised about it. So there are so many misconceptions about it, and so I'm not really surprised, and I certainly don't think less of him for not understanding. Yeah, I mean, it's that's the other thing that cracks me up is when people say it's addictive. See, if it was addictive, it would be sold on the street. Okay, it would be a street drug, and it's not. Okay, you do not see people selling antidepressants because it is not addictive. I mean, that's one reason you don't see people selling it. It's not addictive. If the whole point being, if it's addictive, people will pay almost anything for it, and that's why it gets sold illegally, as well as, you know, things get sold illegally. It's not addictive. Now, technically, yes, your body can get addicted to it in a sense. There definitely are withdrawal effects, but that's the case with a lot of different medicines that most people would not mistake for an addictive medicine because it doesn't affect your brain. That's the problem. Is as soon as it's something that affects your brain, people are much more judgmental, and there seem to be many, many, many more misconceptions. And I still, after years and years and years of writing about mental health and, you know, having a YouTube channel and stuff, I still don't get it. I have to admit, I just still don't quite get, after all these years. You have to understand, I was diagnosed in 1990. And at that time, there were many, many more myths and misconceptions, and there were very few people coming out about being depressed. And I assumed at this point, so this is 30 years later, I assumed that we would be so much further ahead in the general understanding than we are. It's sad. It really is, because what bothers me is that the misconceptions keep people from getting help, because a lot of people don't even really understand what depression is. It's so much more complicated than we used to think it was. It's so different for each person, and so people don't necessarily recognize when they have it, because there's the information we get about what it is just inexact, because our brains are so complicated. And it stands to reason that it would be different for, you know, there'd be different forms of even, you know, just your basic unipolar depression. And so it's definitely frustrating. I mean, I expected we'd be so much further along than we are at this point, and it makes me sad, especially when I talk to young people. Yeah, and you know what? I don't understand, because your mom has to be younger than me, like by a lot. And I don't get how anyone who grew up in her generation, because I'm assuming she's not much over 40, probably, right? I would assume. I probably shouldn't assume that, because I was 40 when I had my son, and so, you know, obviously your mom could be my age, but I mean, people in my generation, as old as I am, I mean, still started understanding about mental health, you know? I don't know. I don't get it, and what bothers me is it's not harmless. I mean, there are certain things that if people are ignorant about them, it's like, yeah, whatever. I mean, it's not going to hurt anyone. I don't know much about football, okay? That's not in any way limiting my life. And I'm not limiting anyone else's life by not knowing about it. But things like this, the misinformation and lack of information, it's so frustrating. When we did this, my son and I have a TikTok channel. We haven't had much time to work on it recently, but we did one video that went to 1 million views about smiling depression. And there was that one, and there was one about how people don't understand that children, even young children, can be depressed. I don't remember how many views that went to, but it was hundreds of thousands. But what was so heartbreaking was all the comments from young people. It was so heartbreaking about how their parents refused to get help for them. And it just, I mean, it was literally broke my heart to read some of these. I just felt so badly for them. And I was very frustrated and angry at some that the parents could not just couldn't just say, okay, I don't really understand it, but let's have you talk to a doctor. I just couldn't understand how any parent could just say, no, I'm the final word. I know you don't have it. I don't have a medical degree, but hey, I know there's nothing wrong with you. You're just being dramatic. And so it was very hard. I mean, I literally start crying sometimes when I read some of these, It was just absolutely heartbreaking. I think what she's misunderstanding is that in some cases, for some people with some types of depression, exercise can help. But there are so many qualifiers for that. Okay, so for me, yes, exercise helps. Getting out maybe helps. Getting out of the house maybe helps. But just saying, I mean, the problem that people without depression do not understand is that how hard it is for you to do anything, like do that stuff. Yeah, let's go for a walk. No, do you know how hard that is? They don't understand because they can't see anything wrong with you. They don't understand that they might as well tell someone who has a severe case of the flu and like 102 fever and can barely stay awake that they should go for a walk. I mean, they don't understand that it can be, they just don't understand that it's you can't describe why it's so hard. You just can't. I mean, it's really how do you describe that? You just can't. There's nothing that's standing in your way. But it's just it's so hard to explain, but it is absolutely real that doing things is just, oh my God, it's so difficult. I know. And I just wish people, I've often wished that everyone in the world could have at least one day where they were severely clinically depressed so that they could understand. Like just one day, not wishing it on them, for any real length of time, but just enough so that they could understand. And just, I'm not saying they shouldn't, I'm not saying that they shouldn't try to get you to do stuff, because sure, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's so frustrating. I know. And the problem is, at your age, people don't listen to you as much as they will when you're older. And that is what it is. And I don't agree with it. I've always treated people who were of any age, from infant, with respect. I feel that they deserve respect. I feel that they deserve to have their opinions heard when they talk. And I do not agree with adults who feel that children do not need to be shown respect. I completely disagree with it. And I always have, because children may not be, the only thing they're missing is age and understanding about certain things and experience. That doesn't mean that they don't deserve respect and that they don't deserve to be listened to. And so I get very frustrated with adults who just dismiss kids and young people and what they say, because they don't see why they should respect them. It really annoys the crap out of me, I have to say. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, you are luckier than some of the kids that we heard from on TikTok, and actually even on the YouTube channel too. Um, because there were kids whose parents just like would not get help for them, and we did several videos, obviously shorter ones on TikTok, and then one or two long ones on YouTube about how to get help if your parents will not support you in it, because the problem is you have much less agency over your life. So as frustrating as the situation may be with your mom not understanding it, um, the fact that you were supported enough to be able to get medication is, you are in a better place than some of the kids we talked to. I know that's not a huge comfort, but the funny thing is, some of the kids we talked to said that if they had a physical problem, their parents would not get help for them, which I found equally alarming. And I didn't understand at all. Like, their parents would just say, "Oh, you're just being dramatic." If a kid or a young person was having like stomach pains and stuff, and I was like, what? Why can't you just take the kid to the doctor? What is the problem? Do you have a medical degree? No. Okay. Then, I mean, and if you have a medical degree, you shouldn't be diagnosing your own kid anyway. So I do not understand. I just don't understand parents like that. I mean, the problem is there are really narcissistic and self-involved parents, damaged parents, who have obviously substance abuse problems or, other issues. But a lot of these just sounded like fairly normal parents who just, I don't know. I never figured it. I just don't understand it. I never figured it out at all. I just don't get it. I mean, but the weird thing is, now my mom and dad, now my dad's a different case because he was my stepdad. He's my stepdad, and I think he felt in some ways he didn't have as much say as our mom did, because he wasn't legally our dad, because our biological father wouldn't let him adopt us, blah 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 blah. But so my mom was like the decider on all that, on a lot of stuff. She kind of overdid it. So like, if we said we had a problem, she'd like immediately take us to the doctor, a physical problem. But then, of course, when it came to mental problems, I think I'm the only one. My sisters didn't. Neither of my sisters had that. Have had any mental health issues. She just was like, "Yeah, you sure you need that treatment?" So, I think my dad understood because, he was in Vietnam. He dealt with a lot of stuff there. His mom and his sister both had substance abuse problems. So he understood it more. But yeah, you just, people are all different. What are you going to do? But I can say, what are you going to do? Because I am an adult, and if I have any kind of health problem, I can just see the doctor. Younger people are still, they don't have that ability to just call the doctor and say, "Hey, I need to make an appointment." So, so that's why I get pretty ticked off at these parents that just, I don't know. I just, if like I said, you put aside the ones who have serious, who have personality disorders or mental health issues themselves or addiction issues or whatever, you still have a lot of parents who just are dismissing their kids for no apparent reason. And those are the people, I mean, I think some of them probably feel like they'd be embarrassed that if it was known that their kid had depression or something because they're worried that people would think they're a bad parent. I mean, come on. That's, who cares? The important thing is that your kid is happy and healthy. I don't get it. I mean, the only thing that's ever been important to me is that my child is happy. Like when he told us he wanted to drop out of college, we both were like, hey, first of all, you're an adult. And secondly, we can't live your life for you because it's your life. And thirdly, it's not exactly the end of the world. College will always be there if you want to go back to it. Whatever makes you happy. So, the only thing that's ever been important to me is that my child is happy. That's all I want for them. Whatever makes them happy, as long as it's not self-destructive or destructive to anyone else, fine by us, Yeah, and you know what? It is the little ones that I think really drive me more than anything, and also my son, because he knows kids who have gotten no support. He personally knows kids who have gotten no support. For instance, he's a friend who is his age, 19, and still is not out to his parents. And we live in a very liberal area, so it's actually pretty shocking. And so he's very open about, he's well, I'm not gonna be specific. Anyway, he's LGBTQ, and so he's very open about it. I mean, I could say it. When he streams and everything, he's completely open about it, but that's not up to me. So he does that partly because he wants to make people comfortable with talking about it themselves and everything. So, I mean, that's one reason that for me, that when I got diagnosed with depression, I was so upset that all that time had gone by, years and years and years, that I didn't know I had depression because people didn't talk about it. So I as soon as I was diagnosed, I was very open about it because I figured then people would be comfortable talking to me if they thought they might be depressed. And it also was kind of like, yeah, this is what someone who has depression looks like. I actually had people saying, wow, I had no idea at all that you had depression. And I was like, yeah, because you know what? We're just like everyone else. We just have depression. We're not like, you may think of people who are like homeless or, whatever, talking to themselves. I mean, remember, this was early 1990s. So, I just wanted to like kind of also normalize it so that people could be like, yeah, I have a job. I have a full-time job. I do well in my job. I have relationships and I have depression. So at that point, like I said, no one was talking about it. It wasn't fashionable. Celebrities hadn't yet started really coming out and talking about it. So not many, some, but not many. So yeah, I mean, I was just like, yeah, I'm putting it all out there. Just all out there. So, let the chips fall where they may. So, yeah. So I think my son kind of grew up with that, with that way of thinking that if you share your, these types of problems and are open about them, it may help someone else. So, so I think he's really always done that. And he's very brave. He's extremely brave. I'm really proud of him because he just has a lot of courage, and he really impresses me. So I'm very, very proud of him. He's taken on a lot recently as far as figuring out who he is, and he's just been just so impressive in the way he's handling it that I just, I'm just in awe. My husband is too. I mean, we're just in awe of him, and how brave he is in figuring out who he is and deciding what he wants to do about it. And so we feel really good about the person he is. We always have, but especially recently. So he is amazing. He really is. And he's had so many things to deal with. He has the ADHD, he has the depression. He was bullied. I mean, so was I when I was a kid, but he was bullied, and he just keeps persevering and doing what he can to thrive. And I just, I'm so proud of him. I apologize constantly for passing stuff on to him. Sorry about the ADHD. Sorry about the depression. I joke about it and I say, well, yeah, but you also got good looks and intelligence. So, I joke about it, and he totally understands that if I could, I would have given him, better genes. But, it is what it is. I have no idea where it came from. No one in my family that we know of had depression. It just popped up with me. So, it's just but on the other hand, my family on both sides were immigrants. Most of them were first generation, and they were tough people. So, not my grandparents, but my great-grandparents, it's entirely possible some of them had depression, and just no one ever talked about it. They just didn't talk about stuff because they just kept doing what they had to do. They had no money, and, my grandmother on my father's side, his mother, her family escaped. They were Jewish, and they escaped Russia because of the pogroms. So they were driven from their home, and came here, and started over. And it was the same thing with my mother's parents, and so they just kept doing what they had to do. They didn't, if they had depression, they just they did what they had to do, and no one talked about it then, of course, at all. But they had, they get here, they have lots of problems. Okay, take care, please. And it's so nice talking to you every time, and I enjoy it. And please take care of yourself, and definitely get enough sleep. Okay. Okay, bye, sweetie. Well, I've gotten a lot done, haven't I? I don't suppose there's any stuff in stock. I will, thank you. No cleaner in stock. Well, actually, I've been going an hour and 20 minutes, so I probably should log off too. I think I'm just gonna finish. Let's get these parts. That's weird how these parts didn't get done. Is that? Okay. Main ceiling wall. Okay, so these are different sections. Oh, wait a minute, here. I think I need my ladder. I'm just gonna do these two sections. There. I should probably put in the description of this stream a little bit of a mental health rant. I do go on these rants. As I said, mostly because of kids. It's very frustrating to me. Extremely frustrating when I hear about kids whose parents just are like, nah, you don't have depression. You're just being overly dramatic. It's just very frustrating to me because they're just not recognizing the impact that this is going to have on their child's life. And I just, as I said, I just don't get it. I just do not understand why. Oh, come on. Why? What? Why? It's no skin off their nose. Just take the kid to the doctor. What's the big deal? I just don't get it. I don't know. Like, in my mind, you are supposed to do everything you need to do to take care of your kids. I don't know. I mean, that's like a biological reaction. It's just like, it's just a biological imperative for parents to protect their kids. I just, it's beyond me, I have to say. I just do not understand. I mean, most parents I know would like jump in front of a moving car to save their child's life. So why is it that, why is it that the idea that there could be something wrong with their child that just happens to be centered in their brain is something that they're not going to immediately protect them against? So I don't know. As I said, this is my sore spot and my complete in a source of complete bewilderment for me. So I never even noticed these things. I must have accidentally gotten them partially clean by cleaning other stuff, because most of these seem to be partially clean. Oh, what part is that? Okay, no, not the tunnel floor. Oh, wait a minute, maybe that is the tunnel floor. Oh, that is the tunnel floor. Okay. So I'm going to do those ledges up there, the uplighting ledges, while I'm thinking of them. And since they seem to be pretty easy and I don't need cleaner, then they seem to be a good choice. Oh, wow, there's a lot of stuff then up here too. Okay, well then I'll remember next time to get all the stuff up here. I guess I should be using, well, problem is some of this stuff is close and some of it's far. So I could be switching back and forth. Okay. Or I could use the red nozzle. That's the other thing. Okay, there's just a little bit left somewhere. Where is it? I can't. Is that it? That's it. Okay. Okay, that was quick. I have, what, 2 more of these? I'm at 79%, but it's the difficult 79%. That's the, I mean, 21%. That's the problem. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. I suppose I should be actually up here when I do these. That would probably make sense. Okay. Well, I have plenty of time, I think, tomorrow, to hopefully finish this. It does take a while, I have to say. This job is definitely taking a lot longer than I expected. Okay. So, yeah, it is definitely taking a while. I have to figure out what determines when the cleaning stuff comes back in the stock. I don't understand, and I would like to know, to be honest. Wow, that's a lot of light from... Why do the other sections not look as well lit? That's weird. Why would that be the case? Where's that light coming from? I don't think there's an actual reason, come to think of it. I think it just is. But, like, I guess theoretically, maybe it's coming down from there? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so I just wanted to thank everyone who's been watching, either live or on the VOD. I really appreciate it. Hope I didn't freak anyone out with my mental health rant, but I do feel very strongly about this. I'm not trying to say that anyone who doesn't understand depression is a bad person or anything. It's just that if you don't understand something because you don't actually have it, then basically you need to understand that you can't understand it, if you know what I mean. If you don't have the same experience to, connect to what someone's talking about, don't just dismiss it. Just say, hey, tell me more. What is, if you want to talk about it, tell me more about how this affects you and what your experience is and what do you need and what can I do to help you. So, just don't, be dismissive. So anyway, I hope everyone's doing well and that you're taking care of yourselves. Clearly, this is important to me, especially in the mental health part and the emotional health. So if anyone ever has any questions or concerns and they want to talk, please ask me, because I will be happy to help point you in the right way, point you in the right direction to get help. Remember, you can always call hotlines and they should be able to, give you some advice on how to get help. So hope everyone's doing well and you take care. Bye-bye.